Hello and welcome back to the Yarn Hoarders Crafting Podcast. My name is Sasha and this is episode 57 of my podcast where I like to talk all things crafting. I am multi-craftual. Today I have 2 knitting projects, some acquisition, and yarn for a new cast on that I'm getting ready to wind up. But I will first start by saying today I am wearing my vest number 2 spring edition by My Favourite Things Knitwear. This is knit using mode at Rowan Alpaca wool in the colour Slate and a alpaca fluff from Lottie knits, her halo lace in the colour Foxglove, and that's a motorbike going past. And I finished this early this year. Yeah, early this year. I'm not really wearing it with anything it goes with. I'm currently just wearing a long sleeved t-shirt that I just threw on, mostly because I have to get changed in like 2 hours anyway. If it's not noticed, obviously I've just showered because I've been I had a number of fitness classes this morning which culminated in me going to Aquafit, so I had to shower. I'm going to a birthday party this evening, so I just kind of threw a t-shirt on and then threw this on. I'm not leaving the house like this because I don't think these kind of go together. But that is what I'm wearing today, and I will say I think this week's episode is going to be relatively short, mostly because I have 2 projects that I've worked on this week, and that's it. Like, I kind of had to scramble for things to talk about, so I pulled out some yarn that I'm getting ready to wind up, and then I had a yarn delivery, so we shall jump in with project number 1. These are my May socks, and last week I was 1 row and a Kitchener stitch away from finishing the first sock. So I have in fact finished the first sock, and I am now 4 rows away from putting in the heel of the second sock. So these are just a vanilla sock on a 2.5mm 9-inch circular, 64 stitches, 2x2 rib for 20 rounds, and then 45 for the leg on these. And then I do a heel flap and gussets. If you can hear a bit of background noise, I do apologise. The kids have just kicked out of school, and there is literally a school at the bottom of the road and top of the road, so I do apologise for that. This is the only chance I've got to record this today, so the yarns I am using are, no, that is not the yarn label, that is the box for the needles. There we go. So the variegated mini 10-gram mini I'm using for the cuffs is by Moffy and the Squid. As far as I'm aware, this colour doesn't have a name. There wasn't a name on the label. It just says free mini skein. I got them free with a purchase from Wonderwool last year. And then the main skein, the main colour I'm using, is from Laura at The Lonely Knitter, and this is from her All of Time and Space collection, and it is Happy Ever After, which is this beautiful pinky purple with flashes of blue running through it. I really like it. I got the Twisted 50 base, which is a 50-gram skein of her 75-25. They are very nice. I've already knit one pair of socks out of one of the 4 colourways I bought, and they are very, very soft and squishy. They're very, very nice. So that is project number 1, my May socks, which I will hopefully have finished. I was going to say, I'll hopefully have these finished next week. I kind of hope they are, but yeah. I might try and work on those a bit during the birthday party. It's an adult birthday party. We're all going to a pub for a meal because all the people coming are adults, so none of them are going to mind me sitting there just knitting away like I usually am, so. If it was a kids party or there was going to be kids there, I probably wouldn't, because when I'm on the heel flap there's going to be DPNs involved, but yeah. And project number 2, the only other project I have worked on this week, is my In Between Dreams cardigan, which has come a decent way. Hang on, I did put a stitch marker in to show you. So I was on that row there last time you saw this, so I've added about 2 inches to the body. So this is just back and forth knitting now, so hopefully when I get time to just sit down and knit, this will actually grow. But yeah, so I've got that much done on the body so far. So this is my In Between Dreams, which is a pattern by Maiju Knits. And the yarn that I am using for this very nice lace yoked cardigan is the Rowan Valley Tweed in the colourway Janet's Foss. It's a very green colour. Like it comes out quite blue on camera. I think because it's quite dark out today, it's actually coming out far more true to life than it has done in the past. So that is the colour, and this is my 3rd skein of this. Once I finish this skein, I'm going to do the sleeves. They are only 50-gram skeins, and although I have 10 of them, equaling 500 grams, I am a little concerned I won't have enough yarn to make this a full-length cardigan. But we shall see. I plan on making this either as long as I have yarn for, or a fairly decent comes sort of mid-butt. So give you a better look. I'm sure I've already put a picture up on screen somewhere which gives you a better idea of what this is going to look like. Not helped by the fact the sun has disappeared and it's now quite dark, and I'm probably about to chuck it down again because it's the middle of May and it's the 14th of May, and the weather is doing that usual thing where it's either really, really bright and sunny or really, really dark and chucking it down with rain. Like, there's no in between. And it's very sudden as well. Like, you could be sat outside enjoying a nice spell of sunshine and all of a sudden your book's getting wet. Yes, that is from personal experience. But project number 2, and that's basically it. That's all I've worked on, and we're 10 minutes into this video. So yeah, that's all I've worked on. Mostly I've just been really busy this past week. I've just noticed that she's flashing. I'm just going to stop her from flashing. One moment. Apologies, she was flashing to inform me that my parcels had arrived. Yes, I know they've arrived, dear, because I was the one that answered the door. Anyway, I shall first talk about yarn I'm about to wind up for a new cast on. And then I will go into acquisitions. Even though I have just recorded a video going through all of my whips and counted 14 of them, I am getting ready to cast on, I think, 3 new projects. So the first one that I have to wind the yarn up for is going to be a DK weight tank top. So if you watch my Wonderwool special, you'll recognise this as the skein I bought to complement this yarn. So this is going to be for all of the ribbing, so neck, arm, hem, as well as probably a set of sporty stripes across the chest. And this yarn is by the Woolly Tangle. It is her 50/50 merino silk DK superwash base in verdigris blue, is I think how this is pronounced. And today is just... That was a lorry going past. Yeah, I'm sorry, like... Can I find... No, it's not. Yeah, I have no idea how to I might try and brighten this a bit in editing. I do have a light somewhere that attaches to my camera. Do I know where it is currently? Nope. So I might either try and brighten this or get some pictures of what this actually looks like in daylight, if any appears. So I have this for the contrast ribbing and some sporty stripes, and then the main colour is going to be this yarn. So this is Juniper Moon Farm Findley DK Dappled, which is a 50/50 merino silk, wool and silk blend. It is merino, yeah, it is merino wool. In the colourway Mint. I think this specific yarn might be discontinued. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't find any more, but I am by no means an expert at online shopping. So, since I only needed one skein to make a tank top with this, I just found a contrasting colour that worked well with it. So I think you might be able to hear the rain. I'm so sorry, this might be a very dark vid. I'll be back. Okay, I have found the light and I'm currently blinding myself with it, so... Right, I apologise that you're now going to see this in high definition, and I apologise if there's any glare off my glasses. There's not much I can do about that. If I take my glasses off, I can't see. But they're actually coming out relatively colour accurate, but that could be because these are silk and they do actually have quite a shine to them anyway. And surprisingly, these are covered in my hair. So this is soon to be wound up for my next cast on, or one of my next cast ons. I plan on doing a recording like a cast on party, where I cast on 3 new projects. I think it's 3, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but there's these. And now for the acquisition. So this has already been opened, because when it arrived I realised that this had been packaged in very, very crinkly cellophane. So my partner opened this, took it out of the crinkly packaging and then put it back in here for me. I technically already know what this is because, well, it said the name of the company on the bottom. So this is my Stardew Valley yarns from Chromatic Yarns. So Hannah over at the Corner of Craft is the dyer behind Chromatic Yarns. She does a lot of like D&D, video game, that sort of dyeing, kind of inspired by that, which is cool. I play a lot of Stardew Valley, so I did buy some. Right, yes, that is, he did get it right. Right, so this is the first colourway I got. This is Void Egg on the Sturdy Sock Base, which is 75% blue-faced Leicester and 25% nylon. That is the label. It looks very nice. And this is the colourway my partner picked out for a pair of socks for himself, because of course it is. So it's a very rich tonal grey with some specks of brown, black and red. The red is a bit more obvious when there's bright light shining at it. If I hold it over here, not so much. So I do wish there was natural light for you to see this, but it is coming down incredibly heavily. I will do my best in post-production to remove some of the sound of the rain. But yarn number 1 and yarn number 2. Oh, this feels really nice. Dun, da, da, da. I love it. Oh, I love it so much. So this, also from the Stardew Valley collection, on the Sparkle Sock, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% Lyrex. So it's very, very shiny and sparkly. And this is the colourway Travelling Cart. Oh, I love this. I love this so much. Now I want to wind this up straight away and cast this on. I love it. I love it so much. So this is a lot of pinks and greens. There's some orange. There's a bit of blue as well. I love this very, very dark pink. And then this like almost blue but definitely green down here. I love this. It feels so soft and squishy. And I love the colours. I love this so much. I just want to cast this on right away. I don't know what to say. These are amazing. So I don't normally buy yarn online from dyers unless I have seen them in person, or I've seen some of their yarn in person. I will buy yarn online. Like, I'll obviously buy yarn online. Most of the time, if I'm buying yarn online, it's usually from a dyer that I have seen their yarn before. Because although I'm going to say 99.99% of all dyers try to get accurate photos of their yarn, it's really difficult to actually get 100% accurate photos. And then, if you somehow manage it from your camera on your screen, somebody else's camera or someone else's screen, phone, monitor, whatever, could end up showing it very differently. So I generally buy yarn from companies I have some knowledge of their yarns beforehand. So seeing their yarns either at a show, from friends and colleagues who knit, stuff like that. This is my very first purchase from Chromatic Yarns, and it is solely because I wanted Stardew Valley yarn, because I love Stardew Valley. And this, I'd say the pictures that I saw and the video when she announced this, I don't think they do them justice, because they look even more beautiful in person. And I might have to change one of my cast-ons to cast this on straight away. Do I know what I'm making with this yet? No. I bought 3 so that I could make myself probably a summer tea with it. But we'll see. This is just gorgeous. And I don't think my camera's doing it justice, because of course I have artificial light on it. If I get time, or I get chance before this video goes live, I will try and pop in again in natural daylight to show these. But I don't know if the sun's going to come back out before this goes live, so. But I adore this. You will have to pry this yarn from my cold dead hands. You'll have to pry most of my yarn from my cold dead hands. What am I on about? So, yeah, that is everything that I got from Hannah over at Chromatic Yarns. Yeah. So, a pair of socks for my other half, which will get cast on eventually, and sparkly, multicoloured, variegated yarn for me. Is this my general wheelhouse of yarns because of how variegated it is? No, I don't usually get stuff this heavily variegated. But I love it. It probably helps that they are my colours, like they're majority pink and green, and those are my colours. Completely accidental. And yarn-wise, that is everything. I don't really have much else to talk about. I have not really been up to much this week, other than work, gym, fitness, cooking, a tiny bit of knitting. And that's mostly because my car broke down. Breakdown might be a little bit of an exaggeration. My one front wheel is currently held on with 2 bolts. There's supposed to be 4. So I'm currently waiting on parts so that I can fix my car. I will not be fixing it myself now, but so that my car can be fixed. So there was quite a saga that led to my car only having 2 bolts in the one wheel. But that is a very long, very irritating story that you don't need to know. But basically, my father-in-law spent the better part of 9 hours trying to do a 50-minute job. I will say, if you take your car to have the tyres changed, ask the people, when they put the wheels back on, to torque them to spec and not to gun them until they're FT. Because that causes nothing but problems, and the amount of swear words that came out of my father-in-law's mouth at the weekend. Yeah. And he was not exactly thrilled that I had to drive all the way home on 2 wheel bolts. I think if he could have gotten away with it, he would have made me stay there until he could get the parts to fix it himself. But yeah, that's a saga. You don't need the full story. Basically, a 50-minute to an hour's job took 9 hours. Yeah. And if you don't know what FT means, it's not finger tight, it's tight. Yeah. So, I will leave that here this week. I apologise for all the lighting issues. Anything else? I also apologise, it's quite a short episode. It's unlike me. I tend to have more of like a 40 to 50 minute long episode each week these days. But life's kind of got in the way. Not much knitting time. So, and with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Yarn Hoarders Crafting Podcast, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye, guys.